Welcome back to more Tales from the Crypt. Let's go. And today we're talking about The Secret. And I'm not talking about that book about the laws of attraction, where you envision a Ferrari and now it's in your driveway. This secret is much darker. And The Secret is the final episode of Season 2. And since every episode in Tales from the Crypt is self-contained, I can just jump around and cover whatever episode I want, without screwing up continuity. And this episode was directed by J. Michael Riva, who I've never heard of before in my life. I believe that this was his directorial debut. After that, he only directed an episode of Amazing Stories, which is also a dope show. But he absolutely crushed this episode. It looks incredible. But that's because this guy, even though he wasn't a famous director, he's the production designer on a million classic movies you've seen, so he's got a good eye. He designed the set for Django Unchained, Spider-Man, Iron Man, The Pursuit of Happiness, which actually I was living in San Francisco around that time and saw that movie being filmed. I was actually hanging out at the bar where the real guy used to frequent. The bartender lady was telling me, yeah, it's about this homeless guy that becomes a millionaire. He used to come here. And I was like, no shit. Well, that gives me hope. I'll think about that while I go back in my cardboard box. I mean, I never lived in a cardboard box, but maybe there is hope for losers. And there you have it. But I'd say that this is Tales from the Crypt's very first kid episode. Even though it's completely gruesome and definitely rated R, it has a kid protagonist, which I think is a first for the series. I'll have to see as I go if they do it again. But there was an epidemic in the 80s and 90s of kids that were fucked up in the head. I remember going to the drugstore and reading every issue I could of Tales from the Crypt. I lived for this shit. Nightmares were the best part of my day. I remember my mom taking me to the library when I was like 6, and the librarian comes up to me like, well, what kind of book would you like to read? I'm like, well, what kind of books do you got? And she's like, we have books on everything. And I was like, okay, cool. Do you have Jason? She's like, Jason and the Argonauts? I'm like, yeah, whatever. So she shows me, and I'm looking at it like, what the fuck is this? And my mom comes over like, what did you ask her? I asked her if she had Jason. And my mom's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And beat the shit out of me. But I digress. But this is one of my favorite episodes of all time. I always distinctly remember this one. And it's one of those episodes that does the very rare, unique double twist, where you think the episode's going to be one thing, and then it completely turns into something else. And I know you're thinking it's a spoiler by the thumbnail, but that's not even the twist I'm talking about. So The Secret begins inside of an orphanage, and the orphanage is called Gaines, which is meta because that's the name of the creator of Tales from the Crypt, William Gaines. And this episode revolves around Theodore, who's an orphan that's outgrowing the orphanage. Pretty soon he'll be an adult, but no one wants to take him. And his entire life they've been hiding a secret from him about the death of his parents, hence the title of the episode. And he's got a contentious relationship with the head of the boys' home, Miss Hegstead, who has a growing resentment towards Theodore for the fact that he's getting older and he's still there, and also for the fact that she has to keep him there due to the circumstances. And as he's getting older, he's got to sneak food because the rations that he's given aren't enough to feed him. They're portions made for younger kids. And he's like frickin' Peter Pan here. And you got Miss Heather, who's new, and Miss Hegstead's giving her the 411. The Theodore's got to be locked in his room at night. But they don't give a reason why. And that will be made apparent later. But it's pretty messed up. They lock this kid in his room like he's the man with the iron mask and treat him like a second-class citizen. And every night he sneaks out of his room and always ends up at the front door, covered in dirt. But his problem is he's always worried about food. I'm sure he could find something outside while he's gone, instead of sneaking in the fridge. But today is Theodore's lucky day, because you got this rich couple here to adopt him. And you got Laura Palmer's mom, Sarah, over here, who I absolutely love, because I'm a gigantic David Lynch fan, and she'll always be immortal to me as Laura Palmer's mom, Sarah, from Twin Peaks. She absolutely crushed that role, with them crazy-ass eyes. But since there's not many baddies in this episode, Sarah Palmer, you get baddie of the week. But these people are weird. I would not trust them as far as I could throw them. You got this eccentric, rich, weirdo wife giving me those crazy eyes? Get the fuck out of here. This isn't gonna end well. But the only thing is, Miss Hagstead's in on the gimmick. She's basically sacrificing this kid to these people. She doesn't give a fuck. Basically offering children to these rich millionaires who definitely would be caught on Is Island. And this episode's kind of like that movie Problem Child, but in reverse. This time the parents are the problem. Basically like if Junior had to go live with the bow tie killer. But on the surface, homeboy just upgraded. He's got this big ass mansion, his own butler, he's living like a baller loke, and he's got a brand new puppy, who's kind of an asshole. But I love Rottweilers. I had a Rottweiler growing up when I was a kid, and my brother has a Rottweiler dog. And all these movies make Rottweilers to be these mean, violent dogs, but in real life, they're super cuddly and want to be your friend. And shows like these are perpetuating negative stereotypes. But as soon as Theodore gets there, the parents are already laying down the law, saying he can't touch anything. But that's something that parents always say to their kids, and kids never listen. Whenever you say don't touch anything, that's like reverse psychology. Our hands are automatically magnets towards whatever it is you don't want us touching. So he's already getting off on the wrong foot with these guys. They're already being jerks as soon as he walks in the door. But as soon as he gets to his room, it's the most baller kid pad of all time. He's got it like Richie Rich. Trains, toys, sweets. He's living the dream. But the only problem is he gets locked in his room like the orphanage. He just upgraded to a bigger prison. And his adopted parents are giving him everything he wants except quality time. They don't even hang with him. They have him hanging with the butler. That's the only family he gets. It's the weirdest situation. It's pretty obvious they have you here for a specific reason. He just can't figure out for what yet. And these parents are straight up weirdos. They have him eating cake for breakfast. Now that's every kid's dream, because you got the metabolism to break that shit down, but what parent's gonna feed their kids cake for breakfast? Dude's gonna have diabetes before he can drive. But hanging with the butler, Tobias, they're really starting to form a friendship. At first it was just business for Tobias, but he really relates to the kid. And he's the only one that treats him like a person, and not a servant. And Tobias is getting real fond of the kid, even though he knows what's about to happen, and that's becoming a bit of a conflict of interest. Because his loyalty is supposed to remain with the parents and not the kid. But the parents are eccentric weirdos, and this kid's got a pure heart. And Theodore, he's starting to miss the boys' home, because even though he's living in a mansion and getting all the sweets he wants, he's lonely as hell up there. At least at the boys' home, he had friends, he had a sense of community. Even though he was an orphan, he had people he could talk to. And at this home with the Colberts, he's basically locked up in a luxury prison. And every day's his birthday. They don't even know his birthday. They just want him to eat more cake. Let them eat cake. And Theodore's starting to figure this shit out. But the only problem is these parents are love bombing the hell out of him, but they never spend time with him. Especially during the day, which is a clue. Because the only time they ever spend time with him is at night. And Theodore's starting to get wise to this and starting to ask questions, trying to figure out what the hell's going on here. And Tobias says he's worked for them ever since he was a young boy. But he's as old as they are, which is already a red flag. And he was also an orphan just like Theodore. So does that mean he's been their servant ever since he was a child? Timeline-wise, that doesn't make any sense. And the parents are acting creepy as hell. Sneaking into his room, watching him sleep. He knows something's wrong with these people, and he's got to get the hell out of here. Now, I don't know how many kids they pulled this on, but it feels like Tobias has had enough, so he's trying to break this kid out. But by then, it's too late, because Sarah Palmer reveals this whole time they've been vampires. I mean, Helen Keller could have seen that one coming. It's literally in the thumbnail of this video. Hence why they're never out during the day. And they made a deal with Toby to make him a vampire as long as he keeps the kids filled with sweets and prepares them for the feast. Because apparently sweet blood tastes really damn good to vampires. But Toby realizes this type of life is miserable. Who would want to live for eternity like this? With these rich assholes. Kill my ass, you'd be doing me a favor. And he puts up the classic hands like a cross, like that's gonna do anything. Dog, you're gonna need holy water. And some silver bullets, perhaps a metal stake. They sleep all damn day, you should have killed them while they were asleep, dumbass. But Toby, doing the one good deed for his life, he sacrifices himself so the boy can run away. And the boy tries to escape, trying to outrun the dog, and it's turning dark. So he's pretty screwed, he's got all night to run from these cocksuckers. However, there is a full moon rising, kind of a curious time to kill this boy, on the night of a full moon. And they look at the moon like, huh, that's strange. I don't know why the fuck it would be strange, but that's how they look at it. But that's the secret. They're fucking vampires, and they're coming for the boy. I guess that's the end of the story, right? Wrong. What they didn't factor in is this Theodore kid can run like a track star when his life depends on it, so he's gonna make them have to work for their money. But by the time they catch up with him, they find out his secret. This entire time, he's been a werewolf, and they chose to kill him on the night of a full moon, like an asshole. And everyone knows werewolves eat vampires, so they're double fucked. And there's your double twist. There's twists everywhere. There's a twist over here, a twist over there. Everyone's doing the twist. So they get what's coming to him. He eats both of their asses, and it serves them right. But the next day he shows up to the orphanage with his new pet and lets them know what time it is. I'm moving back and y'all gotta deal with it. Otherwise I'll eat all you motherfuckers. And look at this amazing CGI they had in the 80s. They really spared no expense on the budget of these shows. But I love this episode. This episode proves that the 80s and 90s were completely built different from the shit kids watch today. Because this is technically a kids episode. This shit is like Goosebumps, but for real motherfuckers. Goosebumps was for pussies. This is that hardcore straight dope. And Tales from the Crypt knew what they were doing with this damn episode. This shit speaks directly to children. Any child that watches this episode loves it. That's why it was my favorite episode as a kid. Because when you're a kid, you feel pretty damn powerless to your parents. They're the ones that make the rules. It's their world and you just live in it. But seeing Theodore fight the system and win, that gave hope to us kids. Made us feel less marginalized. And Theodore will forever go down as a hero in my eyes. But yeah, tell me some of your favorite scenes, your favorite quotes. Tell me what this episode means to you. And tell me some of your favorite Tales from the Crypt episodes. And to the rest of you, I hope you have a good night. Be safe. I have a secret too. I'm a werewolf, motherfucker. And God bless.